Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tasmania has joined a host of other states to scrap mask wearing in airport terminals as travel returns to normal. The tourism industry hailing the move as a vote of confidence, with visitor spending at its highest since the pandemic began.
Masked up and ready to take off, these keen travellers are playing it safe.
I'd say there definitely is a necessity for it because from here you kind of spread COVID throughout the country.
At 12:01 this morning, the mask mandate was lifted in airport terminals across the state. However, they are still required on domestic flights. The news coming as a welcome surprise to some.
I'm very surprised, so I turned up and said, why aren't they wearing masks as we check in? And so I had them on and took it off immediately, and it just feels like we can travel a bit more normality.
Yeah, good news. Can take it off my ears.
From June 25, masks won't be needed on public transport, in schools or childcare, or in hospitals, aged care and correctional facilities from June 30, when the emergency declaration is lifted. The tourism industry welcoming the move as an extra incentive to get visitors to the Apple Isle.
People, feel that this is under control, that we've got this, that they're vaccinated, that they're feeling confident, they've got a bit of money up their sleeve and they want to get out. They want to get out and travel and they want to experience, and we've certainly got what the travellers want at the moment. Coinciding
with Dark Mofo, experts say it's the perfect time to be welcoming travellers with open arms as consumer confidence hits an all-time high.
Hobart is as full as an egg. You couldn't get more people in if you tried. It's a fantastic atmosphere and environment down there for Dark Mofo. So consumer confidence is high, people are travelling, and they've also banked up a lot of time and a lot of expendable income.
While Victoria has announced it's easing quarantine requirements for positive COVID cases, there's no change here, with the 7-day isolation rule remaining in place for now, while close contacts must continue to wear a face mask indoors. The state government says it will continue to follow public health advice. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Firefighters Union is ramping up calls for better wages in the face of rising bills across the state. The group turned out to a TFS training session to highlight the need for a pay increase and stronger superannuation entitlements. It's all in an effort to give the next generation of first responders a fair go.
It can be a rewarding career protecting the community, but we want to make sure the government is having those people start off on a reasonable wage and a fair wage.
The advocates say they're among some of the worst paid firefighters in the country. A pay rise of 2.35% in the first year has been put forward by the government, but negotiations are ongoing. We turn now to some developing news. Emergency services are responding to a single vehicle crash on Sheffield Road. It happened just before 5 p.m. after the vehicle hit a power pole and damaged a transformer. Tasmania Police saying one of the vehicle's occupants received injuries as being treated by paramedics. 700 customers were left without power for a short time. The road between Nook Road and Melrose Road will be closed for at least 4 hours. The clean-up from last week's rough weather is barely complete, but emergency services have issued warnings for more damaging winds in the state's northwest. Waratah, Arthur River and Zeehan are expected to be the worst hit.
An early warning to batten down the hatches as strong winds make a return to a state already battered and bruised.
We have had such a severe weather event and so much damage done.
Last week's winds coming from the southwest, but this week it's a different story.
These are coming from the northeast to the direct opposite direction. So any trees and so forth that have been damaged will now be pushed back the opposite way, which could increase the likelihood of trees coming down, power poles coming down.
The worst is expected on Monday, with 80-kilometre winds predicted.
This doesn't warrant a severe weather warning, but it is of concern after the weather that we've had in previous weeks coming from the southwest, which has obviously damaged a lot of trees and infrastructure from that storm.
Motorists are also urged to watch out for fallen tree limbs and road hazards.
If you can postpone your trip into a weather-affected area, then perhaps you should do so.
And to slow down when there are flashing lights.
If services are out on roads, they are in a dangerous situation, so we would like people to slow down and be courteous as they travel around those workers.
600 volunteers ready to lend a helping hand.
A lot of our volunteers were burnt up in the last event that we've just had, but look, our volunteers are amazing people. If the call comes, I'm sure we'll get the members that we need.
The SES issuing the early warning to give people time to prepare and secure outdoor furniture.
And we don't want people to become too lax and switch off. Because these wind directions are changing, there could be some more difficulties.
It's been just 1 week since a similar weather event killed a 54-year-old woman, and despite a severe weather warning not yet being issued, emergency services say this could still turn deadly. Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
Another Tasmanian has died from COVID overnight, taking the total number of deaths in the state to 85. A person in their 70s from the state's south is the latest casualty. 850 new cases were reported, with 2 people now in the ICU. More than 30 people have COVID in the state's hospitals, with 13 being treated specifically for the virus. Free sanitary products at Tasmania's 4 major public hospitals will now be available from July 1. Previously, the items had only been available on the gynaecology and maternity wards.
When you go to hospital, sometimes it's planned, but often it isn't. So sometimes there isn't time to pack a bag or to think about what might be coming in the days ahead.
Providing these products will ensure that they have at least one less stressor to manage during their time in our care.
The budget initiative is a move to make the state's hospitals more inclusive. It follows the government making sanitary items free in schools last year. Tasmania's vibrant multicultural community has been celebrated at the Moona Arts Centre, with handmade clothing, food and produce on display to mark the start of Refugee Week.
And we're finding that spaces like this, particularly Glenorchy, offers an opportunity for them to thrive and feel included in the community.
Glenorchy City Council has pledged its support, joining almost 170 local government areas to become a refugee welcome zone.
The declaration really demonstrates our commitment. It's putting it on paper in writing that we are a welcoming city, that we welcome refugees.
17 events have been held so far to celebrate diversity in southern Tasmania. Tasmanians have come out in droves to give much-loved clothing items a second life. The theme of this year's Behind Closed Drawers market is all things winter. Organisers say they want to make a difference by helping people shop economically. Stall holders also have the opportunity to donate leftover items to Shop for Hope. Netballers across southern Tasmania have hit the court for a good cause. Donning their pink and black face paint, the battle round was played in support of young women diagnosed with breast cancer. The event was designed to raise awareness while also putting back vital funds into medical research. The campaign was driven by a local primary school teacher who was diagnosed with the disease in 2020. Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie has announced the passing of her father and biggest supporter, Tom. In a Facebook post on Friday afternoon, the family said, "We will miss him more than we can say." An outpouring of support has been shown on the post, with people passing on their condolences. The Lambies have asked for privacy at this time. There's been a thrilling finish at UTAS Stadium in the State League. Jordan Lane's kick on the siren helped the Tigers secure their first win at the venue, getting over North Launceston in style. Lauderdale delivered an absolute thumping to the Magpies at Skybus Oval, while North Hobart couldn't survive the challenge by Clarence, holding on in the fourth quarter to secure the victory.
Looking to bump Clarence from their top 4 position, the skies opened up for the Demons in front of a home crowd. Taking advantage of their moments inside 50, North Hobart's forwards were keen to find the scoreboard. They weren't without their missed opportunities as the Kangaroos took charge to produce some impressive moments. Chasing an upset, the pressure was slipping up the away side, with Hobart's backline doing their best to keep Clarence at bay. But their goal kickers responded strongly, surging ahead at three-quarter time, then going on to finish the job despite the efforts of North Hobart, leaving the Demons to lick their wounds after just falling short at the final siren. Meanwhile, in the north, UTAS Stadium was the battleground for the clash between third and second place in a slog of a contest. The Tigers took back the lead from North Launceston into half-time, holding a slight margin in the crucial moment.
Yes, off the ground, goal! Great movement by the Bombers.
Neither side was willing to back down, attempting to find their way through traffic to get a clearance.
He breaks the 50, Kieran Lovell. It's going to be a goal.
But it was Jordan Lane who was instrumental all day, nailing this kick as the final siren sounded to rack up his fourth, gifting Kingborough their very first win in the Launceston camp, a roar erupting from the Tigers fans in a fairy tale football moment.
He kicks it! It looked to be missing, it snuck in!
Tigers have won!
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The Tasmania Devils couldn't match the Dandenong Stingrays' intensity in round 10 of the NAB League. The side defeated 115 points to 35. 5 of the Devils' star players didn't take to the field due to representative team duties, and 3 players were out with injuries or illness. They'll face the Bendigo Pioneers next. Meanwhile, the North West Football League's women's side has retained the All-Star Series trophy in East Devonport. It was a dominating performance against the combined SFL team with a 24-3 win. Lucy Thompson was awarded the series MVP. South Hobart had a strong 3-0 victory against the Glenorchy Knights in the NPL. 2 of those goals were scored in the second half, with a yellow card handed out to the Knights. Meanwhile, Olympia FC was no match for the Devonport Strikers, losing 10-1.
Good evening. 14 in Hobart today, a top of 13 in Launceston, Burnie and Devonport. 15 on King Island, Grove 12, 11 at Ooze and 6 in Liaweenie. The satellite pictures show areas of low-level cloud across the northern and eastern parts of the state, with mostly sunny conditions about the west. Areas of low-level cloud are across southeast Australia, with a cloud band associated with a cold front over WA, South Australia and the Bight, while cold air behind the front is generating speckled cloud over southwest WA. Tomorrow's chart shows a high to the southeast of Tasmania remaining near stationary, directing to a northeasterly airstream over the state, while the airstream will strengthen during the day as a trough and a cold front approach from the west. Northeasterly winds of 15 to 20 knots tomorrow, increasing to 20 to 30 knots about the west and south during the day. So west to southwesterly swells of 1 to 1.5 metres in the west and the south. And a strong wind warning is in place for much of the west coast, as well as the central north coast and southeast coast. Partly cloudy and 15 in Hobart tomorrow, a possible shower in Richmond, Ooze 14. A shower or 2 in Launceston, Devonport 15, and showers increasing, and 12 in Deloraine. Burnie 14 and showers increasing, Strawn 16 degrees and partly cloudy in Curry. Showers in St Helens, Swansea 15 and a shower or 2 in Whitemark. Showers about the north on Monday, more likely about high ground in the northwest, fine elsewhere. Tuesday, showers mainly about the north and west, Hobart 14 and 15 in Swansea. And showers developing about the west on Wednesday, extending to the north during the day, fine elsewhere. Mostly sunny in Cairns tomorrow, Sydney 19, partly cloudy in Melbourne, Adelaide 16 and sunny and 33 in Darwin. And right now in Hobart it's 9 and foggy, Launceston 10 and partly cloudy, and same conditions in Devonport. And Tom, it's going to be a cold evening for those heading to Dark Mofo tonight.
Yeah, you'd be wise to rug up. Thanks very much for that, Victoria. If you are staying in though, the Giants and the Bulldogs is up next on 7. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. A very good evening.